Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another couch video. Sex workers are the best teachers of game. Oh yeah, and I know some people go like, sex workers, what they know. They know the real deal. And when I say game, I should have put that in quotation marks, but I'll just say game because everybody, you get all upset. But really, it's all about the strategy of man gets woman. And quite frankly, a woman gets man. Because quite frankly, let's be real. Women, they've been learning that game since they've been babies. Since they learned if they cry a certain way, that big man that they'll eventually call daddy will come a running. So they know it. And this is just a euphemism. It's just a somatic. It's like game. It's like you don't even have to use that term. You can be more technical and use strategy. Whatever the case, when you talk about men and women getting together, sex workers are the best teachers because they see the real deal. Think about it. Sex workers, they make their living through sex. However they do it, it's mostly women. Of course, you got some men in there. Of course, you got the pimps who really see everything. They get past all the mask. Because one of the things we got in this society is a ton of mask. Like when people talk about it publicly, they'll say, oh, well, if you're a good person and you wash the dishes or I don't know. It could be anything surface, saying because y'all both got a job or y'all both go to the same church and everything. And let's be real. A lot of times people might even hook up because the culture says, hey, you have to be married or, you have to be with this type of person. There's always stuff out there trying to say on the surface. But then you get into the sexual world. And this ain't necessarily the sexual shadow world. That's a whole other conversation. But when you're dealing with sex workers, they see the other side. They see the fetishes. They see the CEO who's all big and tough, willing to get tied up with an apple in his mouth or something and have a dominatrix just humiliate him. I mean, it even gets to the point some people will be, they want to be urinated on or have a bowel movement on them. I mean, no, it gets that deep, or they got some sexual fantasy. See, the sex worker sees the real. They're not playing around. They got it because they got to deal with it. They know some guys might get off, might even just on seeing their feet. I mean, you got some women out there, they'll just show videos of their feet and a man will pay them, taking a shit. No, that's how deep it is. See, the sex worker sees the real. The sex worker sees the real because all the mask, everything drop off. Like I said, it's not quite shadow world, but it's close enough. And they'll see the things. They know what's up. You got some sex workers out there, they probably got some serious blackmail material on some powerful politicians, CEOs, famous people. They probably got some powerful stuff, but that sex worker is also smart and probably been threatened, but we won't get into that. But they smart enough to keep that money flowing and everything. Indeed, even when you have some women who are close to that, like women, they could be like amateurs and stuff. Amateurs, they ain't really out there, but they have everything taken care of. They are acculturated prostitutes. They got everything taken care of. They got their place to live, got the car to drive, sugar babies. They see it because they see the real sexual side of everything. And then on the other side, you get the men. You got the male exotic dancers, the gigolos, the street gigolos, homosexuals and stuff. They see the real side of a person. And see, when you see the real, then you can deal with the real. Like even coming up, one of the things I learned a lot from women on that side of the game. When I was coming up, they didn't tell me a lot of stuff directly. They told me enough to keep me out of trouble. But then in my early 20s, that's when I was in a situation, legally I can't say exactly what it was. But they really schooled a group of us. They schooled a group of us. It was the best education ever. Because, and that's always been a thing. In fact, Malcolm X, in his book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, talked about that. Because they see the other side of stuff. They know what's happening in marriages on both sides. You know, if you look at like in the islands or Africa or Bali, where women are going on sex vacations, they see the real deal. So that's the thing. Since they seen it, they know how to speak on it. They know what to say. They see the real deal. That's why whenever I encounter somebody who's been a pimp, a real pimp, or someone who was a sugar baby, whenever you see that, the lessons you get there is incredible. Because they see the real. It's not the fake stuff like, oh, if I make this much money, I should be getting the woman. Now, like I said, I've always said, you know, yeah, money can influence a woman, but then it depends on the type of woman. And they'll tell you that. You'll say, yeah, they'll deal with that guy as long as he's paying and stuff, but they are acculturated prostitutes or something else low level. That's a very important thing to understand. See, they'll see the real. And then after seeing the real, they can tell you what really works. And they can tell you what to avoid. They can even tell you what works because they hearing both sides. They're almost like counselors. I'm gonna tell you what. I knew this woman and young lady. Me and her still cool. Very cool. But she said she was a female exotic dancer dealing with males. And she said she made her money. She didn't make her money necessarily doing that lap dance. She made her money sitting back, going in one of those back rooms and just talking with them, man. In fact, especially a lot of females, they'll get paid not even having sex with a man. They'll get paid listening to that man because his wife is too much in her own world to listen. Wife or girlfriend, they too much into their stuff to actually listen to him. They'll sit there and listen to the guy and be like, yeah, they're getting paid, but they'll at least listen. They'll at least like listen to him, let him speak, let him be who he gonna be. And they know that. And they can tell some other women that. I'm going to tell you something now. I never forget, I had a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. And she wasn't into that sex worker thing, more shadow world. But I never forget, she had her son was about to marry a woman. And she said, yeah, I'm going to take her to a strip club. Like, not a male strip club either, a female strip club. Because I want to make sure she knows what to do to keep my son satisfied sexually. Boom. Seriously, that's how deep it is. Because I'm going to tell you what, a lot of relationships really get messed up about sex. People try to avoid it and try to talk about everything else but sex. Because if you notice what I talk about, I'm talking about sex. I don't get too much into this. I'll put out some stuff on the social stuff. And when we talk about money and all of that, notice I always say, make it for yourself. Don't do it for women. Because I know that's not really what's really going to hook the woman. They'll use that money. And then a lot of women got their own money. So then they don't even need you for that. But the sex thing, a lot of women, when they cheating, or even roll from a guy, it is around sex. And even how they treat a man, sex. And see, a sex worker, they'll tell you, they'll let you know. And they'll tell both sides. Like, a lot of women need to be schooled by a sex worker. A lot of women, I guarantee they'll do a better job at keeping their men. Women in the streets used to just call it pussy whipping. I don't think women doing that anymore. I don't hear that being talked, but it worked, And see, it's up to the man to learn, but he can learn from the pimps and all of that, how not to be pussy whipped. I see where I'm going. They get right into it. Because think about something. I want y'all to seriously think about something. We got all these mainstream therapists, relationship experts, authors and everything. Let's be real. Has relationships gotten better? I seriously thought, and I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, I seriously thought y'all might even be able to find a video where I said this. When this COVID hit, I said, oh yeah, it's gonna be a baby boom around this time. I thought it. Oh man, I was wrong. What really happened is a lot of women didn't like being stuck with their men. And in fact, I've had several women tell me, they was like, Rom, I hate being stuck with my husband. Oh, I know a lot of people, So it's, and a lot of it is, they were dealing with each other on a social basis, but like if it was a sexual thing, more sexual, oh shoot, we'd have had a ton of babies. They'd have say, oh, we stuck together, got the Star Trek music playing. Dun, 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 dun. That old Star Trek music. Somebody what's that song? I'll be stroking. That wasn't happening. That didn't need to be played. So, they can really break down the stuff that needs to be talked about. Too many people talking about this other stuff. And the social stuff, let's be real, it's important. But apparently it's not working as well. Because then you getting all this other stuff happening. Because if the social stuff was working as well, and that's all you needed, we wouldn't have the problems we have. But the sex workers, they get right down into the meat of what, and they ain't gonna be fancy about it and all of that. They gonna say, look, this is what you need, this is what you need to do. So I want y'all to think about that. So anyway, though, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.